So I want to welcome you again for our Transitioning from Military to Civilian Life webinar. I want to acknowledge Joshua Robinson, a licensed master social worker who is also a veteran who recently transitioned from active duty to the civilian world, as well as John Prelox, who is U.S. Air Force Master Sergeant retired. He is a veteran lead for Simplify an Americans Fund, and also was able to provide some content, significant content for this presentation. And then I am Catherine Costello. I'm a licensed clinical social worker, and I have been in the DoD VA space as a professional who has provided services for over 21 years, as well as personally through my own experience with my family who has served in the military. So together we put together this presentation for you all on transitioning from military to civilian life. I want to say that all the views are my own and those who help provide the content, and not of those of any organization that we are affiliated. And we thought it was important to put this together because we know of the challenges that happen when transitioning from military to civilian life. We know that there are challenges in general with transition. So whether you are transitioning in a positive way, buying a new home, starting a family, getting married, or you have things that are more challenging in your life that are transitions, going through a struggle in a relationship, changing jobs. We know just in general that those transitions can be challenging. We also know that transitioning from the military to the civilian life has its own unique sets of challenges and its own unique sets of differences that you will manage as you're going through the transition. So military service is difficult, demanding, dangerous, but we also know that returning to civilian life can pose some challenges for men and women who have served in the armed forces. There was a Pew study not too long ago that surveyed about 2,000 veterans, and about 7 in 10 report they had a really easy time adjusting to civilian life, but then 27% said it was difficult for them. So we also know that transitions can be overall, again, a period of stress. So there's a lot more study and research going on around transitions and the impact. Also, according to the study, veterans who are commissioned officers who had graduated from college were seen to have a little bit easier time adjusting to their post-military life than those enlisted. And veterans who said they had a clear understanding of their mission while serving also had fewer difficulties when transitioning. And veterans who said they had an emotionally traumatic experience or suffered a serious service-related injury were more likely to report challenges with going into reentry into the civilian world. So there were 18 variables tested in this study, and veterans who experienced emotional or physical trauma were serving were at the greatest risk of having difficulties adjusting into the civilian lifestyle. And we also found in this study that there were serious injuries and exposure to emotional traumatic events relatively common in the military. So therefore, nearly 32% of all veterans say they had a military-related experience while serving that they found to be traumatic or distressing. So this is information, again, that was put together by the Pew study to help better understand challenges that may have impact on the transition from the military to the civilian world. So today we want to discuss the 5 well-beings of transitioning. And we believe these 5 well-beings can be taken to any transition, but they also are very unique in what we've put together for you all in transitioning from the military to the civilian world. So the first one we're going to look at is financial. So some things that can help you with easing the burden of transition is we know that there is a lifestyle change going from active duty to veteran status. So having a control over your finances, having a good understanding of your finances, and if you aren't feeling confident about that, reaching out and meeting with a trusted advisor. We know that USAA, Navy Federal, and other banking institutions offer some no-cost solutions for you to go and speak with a financial advisor. Having an accountability partner, someone who may not be emotionally connected to your money, but can help you with assessing and being held accountable for your financial goals. If you do an assessment beforehand to know how much you need to earn for your potential household after transition, this can help ease some stress because you're already pre-planning for what you know your household is going to need to maintain financially. And look at your potential. One of the things I've had some discussions with people transitioning is really not knowing how to ask for the salary or not knowing what their salary should be. So doing some research into salary.com, Glassdoor, doing some collaboration and doing some networking on LinkedIn with other peers in an area you're going into, doing what you can to research to know what your worth is and your earning potential. Tackle your debt. So make a financial plan around your debt. And the more you can come out debt-free, the more you're going to be stress-free. So understand your financial limits and know that you need to budget within those limits. And living with those and within those limitations can help reduce stress again. Do a needs versus wants assessment. What do you need and what do you want? And then maybe work with, being able to budget for putting your needs before your wants. So, an example of a want is it wanting a new toy, wanting something from that's latest fashion, but you don't really need it and you're already at a financial constraint. So you need to put the needs in front. You need your food, your clothing, your water, shelter, the things that you need to do, paying your rent, paying your mortgage, things that you need to have in order for you and your family to survive. And look how you can be on track to meet financial goals. So financial goals should be the SMART goals, which are specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timed. So really know how you can be clear and concise with your goals, know a way that's measurable to know when you've met your financial goal, and look at what's attainable, what you can do within your means, based on what is possible that you really think you can, that's realistic to achieve, and look at a timeline for steps. Setting a monthly budget can be helpful, and giving your self permission to spend is part of the monthly budget, but knowing how you can be efficient with your money and budgeting to zero. So looking how you can make every dollar count within your budget. And this is your budget and your money. So maximizing every penny is key for your own financial stability. There's several free apps out there. Mint is a great one. You can use an Excel spreadsheet. You can even use a paper ledger if that's what you are used to using or would like to use. But looking at your money in and out can really help you with budgeting to know how and where you're spending your money. And then have a cushion, the ability to absorb financial shock. Life happens, things happen that are out of control. So being able to save and have an emergency fund, being able to put money away so that you have it, pay yourself first. So when you get paid, putting money away in the emergency account. So you won't have to rely on getting yourself out of debt if you do have an emergency. Emergencies happen, whether it's an appliance breaking, your car needing new tires, things along those lines that if you've budgeted for and you have an emergency fund, you can take it from there versus having to pull it from your money that you may not have budgeted for. And if you have debt, start small. If you are debt free, then the goal is to have 3 to 6 months of your needs for an emergency fund. So here's some other financial resources. The VA disability compensation pay is a 6-month tax-free payment to veterans who got sick, wounded, or injured while serving in the military, and it helps veterans and military who where its servings made the condition worse. So you may qualify for this VA disability benefit. Here's some more information. You may look at it may be a chronic illness or injury or a chronic mental health condition like PTSD that developed before, during, or after service. But here is some information where you can go to file a VA disability claim and look at VA disability compensation rates. Here's some other financial resources. We know USAA has an educational foundation where there are several financial resources through USAA. Again, the Mint app, people have found that as a helpful resource tool to be able to track their money in and out. Military Credit Counseling, Financial Educators Council, FDIC, and the VA. These are all, again, some good financial resources to take a look at. So mental. Our mental health is just as important as our physical health. It is essential for our overall well-being. Positive mental health well-being makes us better suited to cope with stress and remain productive, particularly through transitions when things are already stressful. It also increases the likelihood that you will realize your full potential because you will be able to be better engaged in activities and in your community. And it results in better confidence, and therefore it improves other areas of your life. Again, mental health is just as important as physical health. And if you're currently seeing a provider for your behavioral health needs, be certain to get connected to care prior to your transition, or you start thinking about it during your transition, so that you, while you're changing benefits or you're changing locations, you can get connected to a provider. And if you're experiencing stress, you may want to connect to a provider for the first time if you've not had a provider previously to help you mitigate the stress of the transition. And if you have experienced trauma, be certain to get evaluated and connected to care now. So there are a couple of executive actions that have come out around transitioning veterans to better support being able to receive services. Supporting our veterans during their transition, for service to civilian life in 2018 allows transitioning service members and veterans to receive up to a year of mental health care services from the VA after discharge from service. So I encourage you to look at the Transitioning Services Act. There's also the Compact Act, which is fairly recent. And any veteran, whether enrolled in the VA or not, can go to a VA or non-VA emergency room for emergency suicidal care. And so if you are currently have an emergency and someone is actively suicidal, 911 or your nearest emergency room. 988 is the number that is specific to the Veteran Crisis Line. But you can go to the emergency room and the VA will provide treatment or cover the cost for treatment, including transportation, inpatient, or crisis residential care for up to 30 days and outpatient care for up to 90 days. And this is through the Compact Act. So this is important to know if you do need to use emergency mental health care. And then we know, again, that transitions can be difficult. This is 988. They have done a study that because transitions can be difficult, there may be a potential for a higher risk of suicidal ideation or suicidal thoughts. I equate being suicidal or having suicidal ideation to feeling like you're going to have a heart attack or being in that phase. So exactly what you would do in that phase is you would go to your nearest emergency room, you would call 911, you would get immediate attention. So if you are dealing with suicidal ideation, please make sure you use a Veteran Crisis Line, 988, call, text, or chat 24/7. And you can also go to your nearest emergency room or dial 911. A couple other resources. Solid Start. It's a program that helps support every service member transitioning from service, newly separated service members, and they get 3 calls from a Solid Start representative over the first year of separation. I have had people give me feedback that this has been a great deal of success for them, that they will contact you several times at 90, 180 days, and 365 days out to make sure that they can get in touch with you. This is the contact information for VA benefits, but I have had very good feedback about Solid Start program. Another program is the In Transition program. It's designed to assist service members who need mental health resources and coaching. Offer help associated if you're moving from one duty location to another, but if you're transitioning from active duty to the veteran civilian life, they do help connect you with the provider. It is regardless of discharge status, and there's no cost to use the program. And again, that's called In Transition. It's a DoD program that is available to you. Some other mental health resources are the M2VA team at the VA. Every VA medical center has a specialized post 9/11 team ready to welcome you as you transition from your service member to veteran status. And they will help you and your family in navigating the VA healthcare system. So you can go to M2VA or va.gov and find M2VA. There's a transition care management team for all VAs, and you can work with them collaboratively in order to get further support. Some other mental health resources are the PTSD treatment, the local VA medical center. There's program locations. Military One Source has a great deal of information. Their Mental Health Matters resources, and Make the Connection has a great deal of resources as well. And this is the VA. So let's move on to occupational, part of our 5 well-beings. So employment, we know employment, we spend a lot of time in employment. You're transitioning from the active duty to the veteran world. So utilize your peers or other free resources while you're transitioning into the civilian world. I encourage you to, again, look into networking events. There's several events out there. There's several groups out there, but network with your peers when you're seeking employment. If you're transitioning from active duty to civilian, utilize the resources from your current service transition program. All the different branches of the military have different transitioning programs, but I encourage you to take a look into yours and utilize those resources. Here's some other resources we like to highlight. Bridge My Return. This is the direct email. It's also a transitioning veteran program. The Infantino Search and Consulting Group, Vets to Industry, Warriors to Workplace, Operation Impact, Refer Vets, and Hiring Our Heroes. These are all good resources for you when you are transitioning and looking to your next step in the occupational world. Hiring Our Heroes connects you with American businesses to create economic opportunity and a strong, diversified workplace. They have career services, they have hiring events, they have resources. They have a small business association learning platform if you're interested in starting a new business. So they have several different resources for helping you with that next step. And American corporate partners will match a veteran with a professional in their desired field for a one-to-one mentorship program. There's some of the companies that have participated in the past: Coca-Cola, UPS, Lockheed Martin, Disney, FedEx, etc. So it's also another mentoring program that may be useful to you. The VA partners with organizations for both veteran and veteran spouse employment. We know that your family may be transitioning as well if you're moving locations. Employment resources for veterans are here in the va.gov employment toolkit. There are some great resources. And the Department of Labor has their own section for veterans and their spouses as well. So veteran and military spouse employment opportunities, and the National Resource Directory, which is nrg.gov, has several employment resources as well. Some other things to consider when transitioning are, what are you looking to do next? And are you looking at using your educational benefits? The GI Bill is a resource to know your benefits around the GI Bill. If you transfer benefits to your children, make sure that you save at least 1 month for yourself. There's other things to know about Chapter 35, the Veteran Readiness and Employment. And if you've paid into the MGIB $1,200, you are currently using Chapter 33, you can request a refund at $1,200 at the end of using your post of 9/11 GI Bill. So just some things to know around your GI Bill and some resources that are there to help you navigate it. Education scholarships that may be available: Warrior Scholar, Veteran Education Benefits Guide, and the State Veteran Education Benefits. It's important to have good work-life balance as part of your stress management. So, really doing a self-assessment about what you want to do next through your networking, looking at any educational resources you may be using, if you're going to go that route, or looking at what may best suit you and your family's needs in your next steps to make sure that you also have a work-life balance. One thing we know that people find great deal of satisfaction in while you served your country, giving back and volunteering. People have found a great way to have some real positive feedback and input back into themselves and put a smile on faces of others and themselves, which also we've heard from people out there that it's made easier because they are continuing to give back into society. So There are ways that you can find organizations to volunteer for, charity.gov, find an organization that you're passionate about that continues to be in either your industry or your field, or giving back in some way to the military veteran population. But we know volunteering improves your mental and your physical health. It provides a sense of purpose, it teaches us valuable skills, and it allows us to foster and build new and existing relationships. So it's just something to consider as you're transitioning. So physical. So as well, how mental impacts your physical impacts your mental. We know they go hand in hand. So being physically healthy raises our emotional well-being and our self-esteem. Exercises keeps your body in motion. So a body in motion stays in motion. We know that as you're transitioning, it can be a great stress outlet to keep yourself and your physical well-being going. It can impact your day-to-day activities and your ability to care for yourself and others. Part of the continuum of care is knowing what you need to know for yourself as you're transitioning for you and your family. And this includes your healthcare needs and any changing needs you may have, because your healthcare benefits may be changing, your location may be changing, so you may need new providers. And part of your health is knowing how to do preventative care, and also knowing that you've got your benefits set up if you're going to need to go into the continuum of care for treating any current mental or physical health conditions. So we also know that finding a routine can stimulate some of your military environment, will help. So like having a routine can be very helpful for people in maintaining their physical. So here's some different support resources: O2X, Vet Sports, VA Move, Catch a Lift. These are some ways and some resources out there to stay physically active. Connected care again. So find your relocation benefits and plan for your continued health care, so you do not have any gaps for you and or your family members while you're transitioning. You may be eligible for 180 days of TRICARE benefits, so you may want to look into this. Those veterans with service-connected disability are also eligible for CHAMP VA. So make sure you know your benefits. Look into your resources through the Veteran Benefit Administration. Check with Military One Source, TRICARE after retirement, Veterans Health Administration, Transitional Assistant Management Program. But make sure that you have done your research, connected, and you know what you need to do for, again, to make sure you have benefits and resources once you transition. Social. So we know that feeling connected helps us feel like we belong. This facilitates positive, happy mental and physical health. Relationships to those in the community can help us feel stronger ties and overall increase your happiness and sense of well-being. So this is an important aspect of your transitioning, because part of your life in transitioning is your social world may transition as well. Your military career was all about community. So recreating the military environment of the social aspect of being connected can be important. We know that there are a lot of organizations out there that help facilitate that community. So VFWs, American Legions, and again, being involved and connected can help us feel a sense of purpose and encouragement. So before you transition, know your resources. There's so many resources out there, and it can be overwhelming, and not all of them will apply to you. So it's learning, doing your research, using the organizations to help you navigate them, and being as prepared as possible. So make your appointment with your branch of service transition counselor again before you get out, the 3 steps of getting ready to get out here. And then active duty and pre-separation checklists up to 18 months from the services. So I really like this checklist. It goes through some pretty concrete steps to help you prepare. And part of being less stressed can be feeling like you've done your research, know your resources, and you're prepared as possible for the upcoming transition. Okay, so here we go. 18 to 12 months. There's stuff you can start doing 18 months out. Look into the GI Bill and tuition assistance benefits experts. and know what you need to know about GI Bill and tuition assistance if that's an area you want to make sure that you have a concrete foundation. You look at degree selection and college selection if you're going that route. Use the DoD online academic skills course if you're going to go that route, and make an appointment again with your local transition counselor. You can also start with career exploration. 12 months, review your pre-separation checklist, attend a TAP workshop, find a mentor, contact your local ESO or career counselor, develop an individual transition plan, look into your job search based on your skills and interests, develop your own personal and professional network, consider taking this CLEP exam, get your verification of military experience and training, research the cost of living if you're moving to a new location so you can plan accordingly, again, and get your finances in order, start budgeting, start doing what you need to make when you're starting to do your research. Look into veteran home loan benefits, and you may need to request house hunting orders, and here's the DoD policy. 10 to 7 months. Continue working on your personal and professional networking. Again, doing that networking to find what may be out there. That also helps you build that sense of community. Use military.com skills translator. Military.com provided this checklist, and so they are referenced a lot here, where they have an excellent resource when it comes to your separation checklist. Look into employee assistance programs that you may have out there. If that's a benefit that you may want to use, start drafting your resume using Hire Heroes or other organizations if needed to help you with your resume. Look into refining your job search using military.com skills translator. Research the job potential, affordability, etc. USAA and military.com's best places, and arrange for your household good transportation counseling. Again, 10 to 7 months continued, employer provided civilian health care. You may need to be getting health care out there in the community when you in your new employer. Look at your continued health care benefit program, your transitional health care benefits, your civilian health and medical program, Department of VA health care, your military treatment facility locator, VA medical facility locator, and budget and prepare to pay for your health insurance coverage. So again, that can be a part of your budget as you're planning for your finances, but also part of your physical and your emotional health care and your care continuum of what are your benefits going to look like after you transition. And find out if you're eligible for VA disability compensation. You can file 180 days prior. You also may need to look for an advocate for this through one of the VFWs, American Legions, one of your local community groups, if you need an advocate or to discuss your VA disability compensation. 6 to 4 months, you can start applying for jobs. What do you want to look like, and how do you want your next career to be? Do you want to work remote? Do you want to go into an office? Do you want hybrid? Continue to expand your career networks. Again, continue networking. Consider transferring your post 9/11 GI Bill. Start attending career fairs. Review and update your will and other financial documents while you still have that as a resource that you can use within the VA. Consider whether to take terminal leave or sell back your balance. Schedule appointments for household goods shipment and storage. Schedule a final checkup for your family members for their health care. Visit the legal office for assistance, again, updating other documents that you can do. But while you still have that as a resource, determine if you're eligible for separation pay and learn about the Transition Assistance Management Program. 3 months. So we're almost there. You're 90 days out. What do you need to do? Military.com and other job posting boards out there, monster.com. Indeed, there's several job boards out there. You can use LinkedIn. You can look into job placement services. Again, networking with people that you know and that are in your community, both again builds community as well as gives you that ability to network for positions that are out there that you may be interested in. Job search military.com, they do have that ability. Quick start to determine your eligibility for VA disability compensation. Review your finances to ensure you're financially ready for civilian life. Familiarize yourself with where you're going if you're transitioning to a new location. Contact your military treatment facility to get copies of all your health and dental records, and learn more about military service wounded warrior programs. If you have a service-related injury or illness, it's important that you connect and that you are looking into what resources are out there. There's different wounded warrior programs for the different branches, but also, again, making sure that you are getting everything set up and getting a foundation prior to transitioning. Less than 3 months, you are going to finalize your relocation, arrange for inspection of government housing if that's needed, choose a transitional health care plan if needed, and you are getting ready to transition. And so again, there's several resources out there for both the service member and the family. And so I encourage you to take a look at them, use them. They can be overwhelming, but find the one that's best suited to your needs. You got the Veteran Employment Toolkit, the Military Times Reboot Camp, great for resources for purchasing homes, tips for spouses as well, tips for reducing stress. You got the Defense Activity for Non-Traditional Education Support, and militarytransition.org. Military helps military service members, veterans, spouses, and employers better understand and prepare for military to civilian process as transitioning. And then soldierangels.org also has some different resources that may be useful. USAA has several resources. They have some great podcasts. Military Moves podcast, episode 7 is Understanding Your Civilian Benefits. Military Move podcast, episode 8, Understand Your Civilian Benefits, part 2. These can be very helpful topics on transitioning from military to civilian life. So I encourage you to take a look at them. Again, the 18-month guide of activities for your successful transition. It gives you a step-by-step planning of the things that do apply to you. Militarytransition.org. It's a website for veterans and has a special section for spouses as well, and identifies organizations to assist with tools, trainings, advice, and other info. My Step Military Spouse Transition Program also has trusted and reliable information, videos, and links to assist you and your family members as they transition. There is this weekly meeting that happens. It is the Veteran Safe Project meeting, and we encourage you to come and join us at Safe Vets on Tuesday nights from 6 to 7 p.m. We are here as part of Safe Project, and we are here to support you. If you have questions that you want to bring up in this group for transitioning, we are happy to discuss them as a group. It's always great to collaborate with our peers. Joshua Robinson, who contributed to this, also has a group that he provides that is weekly for veterans. And if you have information, it's joshua@awakenwellnesscenter.com. And it's a group created to help others during the transition. So if you are transitioning, this is a group to help you through that transition. Anyway, thank you again for joining us. We appreciate it. We do have other webinars coming up in the upcoming months. And we hope you will continue to join us.